Hey everybody, it's Missy with the Shimmerz education team. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another layout. This layout, I start from scratch, and I'm going to start with white cardstock and these cute little photos of my youngest daughter from a couple years ago. And I've already got some white tissue paper behind them because I had tried to scrap them on a different layout a while ago and changed my mind, and so I decided to scrap them today. And I'm going to be using that white heart cut file that I'll tell you about in a little while. So before I use any Shimmerz products, I'm just going to give my white cardstock a coat of clear gesso. And this is just going to give my cardstock a little bit of tooth, a little bit of texture, and it's going to make my Shimmerz products go on a lot smoother, and it's going to allow them to spread a little bit better. And I'm just going to use several different products today, and I'm going to use the packaging technique where you just spray it on the plastic and then turn it over and smudge it down on your paper. And I started there with Vibes and Jenny B Blue, and this is Colorings in Oh Say Can You See, and it's a teal color. So I'm kind of going with a turquoise / teal color here to kind of bring out the greens and the blues in the picture. Because there's so much pink in her dress, I wanted to bring out the other colors for a nice contrast. So I'm just trying to get some watercolor look going on the background to show through that cut file. I don't want to cover up the whole paper, and I just want enough to make it interesting behind the cut file. So now I'm going to come in with Creamies, and this is Ride the Tide, and I'm just going to add a little bit of water. I don't really want it to be too thick. I mainly want it for the color on this layout, and so I just add a little bit of water and a brush and kind of get the top layer going, and I just paint it right onto the plastic, and again, just smudge it. This is going to give me a light blue color and a nice satin finish. This is Inklings, and this color is called Blue Lagoon, and it's so pretty. It's going to give us a sparkly, shimmery finish versus a satiny finish. And I'm going to do the same thing here, and I made a big oops there, and I dabbed it up before it dried. It's like a dark teal color. It's very, very pretty, and when it dries, it's so shimmery. And I'm liking how this is looking, and I just take a while to get it just like I like it. And I add this color here and that color there, just to get it exactly how I like it. And I keep putting the cut file back over it to test it out to, make sure color is in every spot that I want. So I decided I need a little more of that turquoise teal, not teal, but the turquoise blue color. So I come back in with the Vibes. I think Jenny B Blue is my all-time favorite color in all of Shimmerz. I'm a huge fan of blue and teal, and I use these colors a lot. I don't know why. I just gravitate towards blue and teals a lot. So I use my napkin here to just dab up some of those dots, and some of it I let it dry by itself. Some of it I zap with the heat gun. Just depends. I had to stop and start a lot making my layouts, especially during the day, because I'm interrupted a lot, which is fine. So I kind of have to work in spurts. All right, so this is another awesome, gorgeous color. This is Shimmerz, and the color is magenta, and it's thicker, and it's very, very shimmery. And this is actual paint that comes to you already wet, whereas Shimmerz and Creamies, you have to activate them because they come dry. The Shimmerz actually come already pre-mixed. And I didn't want to go too crazy with the pink, so I just add a little bit of drop, or a little drop on the page, and then I use my acrylic block to press it down. And I love how that turned out. It's the perfect pink, and it's just the right amount. I didn't want to actually use the packaging because there was so much of it on the plastic that I didn't want to overpower it, and I didn't want to overlap it onto the green or the blue. I wanted it to be a little separate, and that's exactly how it turned out. I was very happy with that. And I did add a couple of splatters with the paintbrush. Let's see, what color am I using now? I think this is Me in Blue. And here's a little tip. That brush that I'm using that's blue, I bought that in a pack from Michael's. Very cheap, like $4.99 for 10 brushes. Yeah, I know now why they were cheap, because the bristles fall out. Literally. The brushes shed when you try to mix paint. They have come out in almost every medium that I have stirred, whether it be a watercolor, whether it be these paints here, it doesn't matter. I have hair from the brush in all of my products. So yeah, don't buy those cheapy brushes because they will disintegrate on your project, and then it will look like a cat came onto your page and left its hair everywhere. And it drives me nuts. So I'm constantly having to pick cheap brush hair out of my paints or my pages. Anyway, I'm going to use this blue. I added in a little bit of Heidi Ho blue just to darken it up just a little bit. And as you can see, I'm just kind of adding it with a brush and then drying it with the heat gun again. And I like how you can see the water moving around as the heat gun is drying it up there. I think I have it like I like it. Nope, no I don't. Never mind. I'm going to come in with white. This is called Spotlight White, and I finally decided to change brushes because that shedding brush was just getting on my nerves. I decided that I wanted to lighten up the lines in between the blues and the greens, and you know, a lot of times I use gesso for that, but I wanted to try this sparkly shimmery inklings, and it's very subtle, and as you can see there, it's kind of softening up some of those edges. Okay, now here's something different I wanted to try, and I accidentally forgot to turn on my camera when I cut this, but I cut out a giant heart out of plastic packaging, and I'm going to create a shaker element, and I've taken some white sewing thread and I ran it through my sewing machine, and you can see it shining there, and I've sewn around the sides all the way down to the point, and I've created a little pocket here, and I'm just showing you here how it's sewn down, and I'm going to put confetti inside of this heart, and then I'm going to finish stitching it up because I think that's really, really cool when shaker elements are on a card or a layout. It just kind of makes it interactive, and it's I just think it looks really neat. So now I'm just going to make some confetti, and I'm taking some scrap white cardstock here and all the colors that I used, plus I'm going to add in a touch of yellow, and that's called No Yoking, and it's a colorings. And I'm just randomly spraying. I just want several different sections of color so I can punch them with my confetti punch. And I'm going to make a bunch of different little circles with all of these different colors, and then I'm going to stick them inside that heart and shake them around. So I've got colorings, I've got vibes, and I've got shimmers here. I've got all different kinds of finishes. I love the Shimmerz paint. I think it's one of the first products that Shimmerz ever made, and it's like glitter was put into a blender and made super, super fine. And when that Shimmerz paint dries, you can just see this nice glittery powder. It's so pretty. I love it. All right, so this is my old trusty confetti punch, and this takes me a while, so I don't show every single color, but I'm just taking it to each color and punching out a bunch of little circles here, and I'm going to make a big pile of confetti. And you know, you can still do this if you don't have a confetti punch. You can just cut pieces up into tiny little bits and just keep cutting and cutting until you have a bunch of different little pieces. Doesn't necessarily have to be circles. And I'm also going to add some buttons to my my shaker heart also. All right, so I've got all my colors punched there, and I'm going to just scoop them up and open up my heart pocket and drop them in. And, you know, some of the backing that's white is going to show up. I was not going to take my time to flip over each one of those circles. So I've got some that are white, and then, you know, some of the color that I just created there, and I like the way it looks. And I sort of didn't think this far ahead when I did use a little bit of my ATG gun to adhere the heart down initially so it didn't move when I sewed it down. And yeah, some of my confetti stuck to it, but you can't tell in the end. All right, so after I did that, I decided I wanted to add a touch of silver. So I grabbed another little piece of scrap paper, and I came in with my inklings called No One's Chrome. And this is a really pretty silver color, and I just do the same thing. And what I didn't realize that on the back of this scrap paper, I already had some orange and pink from some other products that I was practicing with. So there's going to be a touch of orange in there that I had not planned on, but it actually looks fine, and it's not even a big deal. So I'm really liking how this is looking. I think it's fun and cute, and I'm going to add in a couple of buttons. and they're going to shake all around. And you can see them through the hearts, and when you move the layout, they're going to be able to move around. So I finished stitching it up. I used some pink thread, and I love how that looks. It's super cool and super fun. And you can do this with plastic packaging of something that you're probably going to throw away anyway, so might as well use it and make something cool out of it, right? I've done a shaker element pocket on a layout before, but I've never actually done an element like a heart, so I wanted to give that a try, and I love how it turned out. I think it's cute, and I used all Shimmerz products to color all of those little confetti pieces, you know, and you can do any color scheme you want. Alright, so I'm going to come in with a little bit of pink thread here. I wanted to add a little bit more texture, and you know, it's a busy background, so I don't want to add too much of embellishing as I go, because I don't want to cover up the right side of those hearts and all of that confetti and the buttons. So I really go light on everything else from here on out. But I do add thread, and it's a lighter pink color than the thread that I used to stitch around the heart, just because I wanted it to be a little more subtle and not so bold. And this heart cut file is from the Just Nick store, Nicole Noasad's cut file store, and I got it months ago, right after she opened her store. One of my other design teams did a team up with her new team, and we were able to pick some cut files for our layout, and this was one of the ones that I picked, and I actually cut this back then and I didn't use it, and so I thought this will be the perfect layout to use that up. Now I'm using a couple of things from the Maggie Holmes Shine collection. I use that flower sticker because it's the perfect color, and I love how it looks sticking out there on the left, and then I use the word dream, and I'm going to use that chipboard heart because it's the perfect pink color. And I am going to add in this little flare button from a Flare for Buttons, and it's just a plain white one, and it says today. And I'm going to back it with two different shades of thread. I've got a light blue and a teal, and when I'll fold them together and bunch them up like this, it actually looks like one color, even though there's two different color threads together there. And my original thought was not to add any yellow. I didn't think yellow at all, but as I went, that changed, and I like the pop of the yellow. Even though there's no yellow in the pictures, I love how it pops. And, you know, I really didn't think of a title. I've been wanting to scrap these pictures for a long time because they're so cute, and I have a lot more of them. I just love that she's in this cute little dress, and she keeps hiking her leg up so you can see her diaper. Yeah, that wasn't part of the plan, but they're so cute. I just had to scrap them. And I couldn't think of a clever title, so I just let these Maggie Holmes stickers kind of serve as a title. So it's Love Dream, even though that makes really no sense, and it's not really a personalized title, but that's okay with me. I mean, not every layout has to have the perfect title. I think it looks good. I love the colors, and so I'm happy with it. I do add a little bit of journaling here on the left, and I angle my journaling in around the side of that heart, just because I didn't know where else to put it, and I didn't have a whole lot to say. I mean, I did, but I didn't, you know, it's basically just cute pictures that I took of my daughter and how they turned out way cuter than I thought. So that's the final page. I love how it turned out. I love the shaker element, and I love that I used all my Shimmerz products to create all those little pieces. So I hope you give this a try. It's really fun, and it's a good way to use up some of your plastic packaging that you would probably just throw away anyway. So let me know if you have any questions about any of these products that I used. I do have a list of all the things that I used, all the names of all the products coming up here at the end. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you guys have a great day.